You need to go no audio.
So my microphone is muted.
Okay, so would you like to use my microphone here?
And I'm going to turn my camera around.
So let me
Camera operator.
grab that for you. Let me leave there. Okay. All right. Hello, everybody. My apologies for the inconvenience. Despite appearances, my name isn't Susan Boudreau. My name is Tom Lang. I'm chair of the MAC. And so what I'll do is bring the meeting to order. We've had some technical issues. The person who is coordinating the meeting this month from Supervisor Joya's office didn't have access to the conference room. So we have we had a bit of a delay getting in, but at any rate, here we are. Tanya will be joining us soon, and we'll get started full speed, but I'll bring the meeting to order. And so let's see. We'll start off with roll call. Does anybody have a pen? Yeah. All right, so Tom is here. George Cleveland.
I'm here.
Susan Boudreau.
Yep.
Miss Shirley Rosenthal Winston. And Mickey.
Here.
And Jim. Yeah. So and of course, she's sitting off in the corner, so I didn't see her, but she's definitely here, Melinda. So what do we think? We have a quorum or not? I think we have a quorum.
We do.
That's
So-
more than a
so
quorum.
we're
Okay.
discussing Tom Owens and Emily, so they are.
So Tom Owens and Emily are absent. Okay, treasurer's report, I'll just give that, $2,964.59. Let's see. One thing we should probably do is the Pledge of Allegiance. So Shirley, would you like to lead the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United
United
States
States of America,
and
to the republic for which it stands,
one
one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so first on the line is the county update that Tanya will be delivering. And so what I think we'll do is just switch the agenda around, and we have Lieutenant Rodriguez from the Sheriff's Office. Lieutenant, why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, appreciate it. I'll start off by introducing my partner tonight. Deputy Devin Rodriguez, no relation.
Can you hang on just a second, because we need to, this is the new microphone you're getting, so hit it hard.
Oh,
Yeah. If it's okay with you guys, I'll close the door just to cut off.
Yeah, no. You can just leave it on the table.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Log into this on the phone? If you did, please, mute yourself. That's our beginning. Yeah. Or unjoin.
Ramon, could you mute yourself, please?
Was that? I heard my name.
Everybody who's not under my name, just mute yourselves. Thank you.
I heard my name. What was that?
Unmute.
Everybody else needs to mute themselves, please, or we get feedback.
All right, we'll give it a shot. So for the month of July, we'll start off with the reports, calls for service. We had 691 calls for service generated in El Sprani.
For the last month?
Yes, for the month of July.
Well, it included July 4th.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So noise.
And half of those were on July 4th.
Of those 691 reports, we generated 51 reports, daily reports that were actually drawn as a result of that. For our select crime trends, we did see an increase in July based on the previous month. So to give you an idea for the totals, for the month of May, we had 15 select crimes. Month of June, we had 11, and in July, we're at 19. The biggest increase in those that we saw is that there was 4 court order violations that were related to domestic violence, whereas in the previous months, we only had 1. We also seen a significant increase in vandalism, both misdemeanor vandalism and felony. We had 1 felony vandalism and 6 misdemeanor vandalisms. Outside of that, it tends to still be the property crimes, which is good, but we did also see an increase with violent crimes, specifically assaults with a deadly weapon. So remember, select crimes are typically going to be auto burglaries, homicides, sexual assaults, some of your grand thefts, your vandalisms, both misdemeanors and felonies. And all those things are tracked, and we track them over just to kind of see and identify trends with our analysts, where are they occurring. For El Sobrante, you guys are unique in the fact that you have Dam Road, which has a lot of businesses. So we see a lot of the vandalisms are a result of that. And some of it is due to folks breaking into some of the businesses. Sometimes legitimate commercial burglaries, other times more, they're breaking in specifically during the winter months, breaking in as a form of trespassing. So just to get out of the wet weather, they're breaking into the foyers and sleeping overnight. Either way, it's unacceptable, should be taking place. Other things that are occurring this month, last week, actually, I attended the West Contra Costa Fire Safe Council. Pretty good event. We meet quarterly. One of the things that's coming out of that, obviously, is SOS, which is a community-based group, has identified encampments in the area, a lot which are in El Sobrante's territory, some are in other jurisdictions, but they've identified these encampments and they've ranked them as how they rate as far as the risk associated with wildfires. So you can imagine with the encampments, one of the things we get is a lot of warming fires, and they pose a significant risk just because, it doesn't take much and they can get out of hand. It's based on the terrain, the limited access with some of the residential streets and evacuation routes, and then also the emphasis for some of the fire trucks as well as law enforcement vehicles being able to get in there poses a significant risk for. So attended that. We're working to identify some of the various property owners. Some of the challenges that come into play with that are that not all the properties are public. So some of them are actually privately owned. Some of them, some of the parcels, we need permission to take any sort of enforcement action. So for instance, if I had a property and let's say it's a few acres and there's an encampment on that property, in order for me to come and enforce any sort of trespassing or anything like that, I actually need your permission as a property owner to take that enforcement action. So working with code enforcement, environmental health right now to try and identify who owns the parcels, and then work with them to go ahead and get no trespass letters signed, and then provide outreach to the folks that are staying in the encampment. So in most cases, if it's a trespass, it's a misdemeanor offense, which means that while we can book them, it's likely that they're going to be released within 24 hours if there's no other charges associated, if not sooner. Which doesn't necessarily solve the problem, might just move it along to some other jurisdiction, or they return back. So we prefer to go out 72-hour notice, and we're doing this currently in Wildcat Creek with environmental health, both today and tomorrow. And we go out, give them a 72-hour notice, say, please move along. You can't be here. If we come back and you're still here, you can arrest trespassing under the belongings with the property. So we're working to identify and take similar actions here in the locations that have been identified and shared with us by SOS. I can tell you, some of those locations that were identified, we have taken enforcement action previously. And whether or not those encampments are being inhabited by the same people is yet to be determined, but in some cases, I can tell you some of the ones that are on the list we've gone through with Public Works, Caltrans, and other partners, and removed the encampments, they've returned. So that's where we're at currently. In July, we increased our staffing. That was the kind of the last stage of our rollout. So over a year ago, the board of supervisors approved additional budget for the sheriff's office as far as increasing our patrol staffing. So we went from having 4 to 5 deputies assigned to now we have 7 beats from the West End of the county, which just allows us to stay in our area of responsibility a lot longer. And so far, it seems to be working well. And hopefully that can continue to be the case. So any questions for me at this time, whether online or here? Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you for your presentation. What are examples of the difference between a felony vandalism and a misdemeanor vandalism?
Yeah, so just the value of the monetary value of the damage associated. So that's gonna be the difference.
Okay. And what have you noticed in terms of catalytic converter theft? Were there any instances?
Yeah, so we do, catalytic converter theft continues to be a problem. That's not just a county-wide problem, that's more of a state problem, so much so that the state's looking to pass legislation to make it harder for the thieves to actually profit from it by going and turning it into some of the recycling centers. The one thing I will caution everybody is we've had a couple, one of which was actually here in El Sobrante, and it was earlier this year. A gentleman actually saw it, well, he heard it first. He happened to be home. It was about 9 in the morning. Heard somebody, what sounded like a metal grinding noise, looks out his screen door and sees 2 subjects at his car and what he believed to be stealing the catalytic converter. He didn't see any weapons in their hands. He confronted them and essentially chased them down his driveway. As they got to the bottom of the driveway, one of the suspects pulled it down and fired 1 round at him. Thankfully, he wasn't hit, but nonetheless, definitely don't want to see that happen. So I caution people, please be a better witness. In Rodeo, we had one prior to that one. I would say probably a month or 2 prior to that. And same thing, the owner of the vehicle confronted the suspect, and the suspect actually shot him in the leg on that one. So please I'd rather you be a good witness than to be a victim of a crime. So just, get as much information as you can, call it in. That's our recommendation. Yes, ma'am.
How does the increase in your staff affect on the branding day to day?
So. Prevention of crime. And also- So we already had, El Sobrante already had. Deputy assigned to speed. He assigned, if you will.
Leave computer off.
Previously, El Sobrante and the deputy assigned to North Richmond, the Longwood area, East Richmond Heights area, they cover each other. So the deputy in North Richmond gets dispatched to a domestic violence before the deputy from El Sobrante would have to go there to cover him. Which means that it's gonna take him a while to get back here. You can imagine, especially this time of day, commute traffic and everything else. Now, there's more deputies that are out here. It allows the deputies to stay, and for all the other areas, to stay in their Venus.
Is that true at night and day? I mean,
Yeah, just an example, like right now, my partner is the North Richmond, Rollingwood, East Richmond Heights deputy. He's actually on a domestic violence call right now, but because we have an extra staffing, other people are able to cover him, so I can be, present for this and also just be in the beat for any sort of general activity. So.
Thank you. Are there other questions for Lieutenant Rodriguez?
I just want to know if anyone can answer this. So is the unhoused population decreasing or increasing from your observations?
You know, I don't know for a fact, and I don't have numbers for a fact, but I would say it's definitely prevalent within the community. I can't say one way or the other. I don't have specific numbers. But, you know, given it the eyeball test, I would say, yeah, it appears as though it is increasing. One of the challenges though is that it's for various reasons, you know, for perfect example, I know I go back to this one, I'll probably share it with this group. There's a gentleman in who's unhoused in Rodeo, and we've contacted him as a result of calls for service, saying, hey, you know, we believe he's trespassing on our property, things like that. And through our investigation, we've determined he actually has family members that live in the area, and the family members with no stipulations, no strings attached. Hey, he has a room, he has a bed here, he can come stay with us, no questions asked. And when we offer that to him, his response is, I'd rather live in my current condition. So, and then the other challenges are, some of the folks have mental health issues. Others have issues with drug addiction. And then just the challenges with housing, you know, that's another one. So economics and everything else. So when we go out and we contact these folks, it's not, we found that it's been more successful to do it with partnering agencies. So to give you a perfect example, a couple years ago, when I first got assigned out here to Bay Station, behind the Dead Fish along the hillside there, a very similar problem. There was a lot of encampments. We worked with the State Lands Commission. We worked with the various property owners, because there's several in there. Both East Bay Bud, PG&E, private residents. We worked with all of them. Took some measures to put K-rails in, also to post signage for no trespassing, get no trespass letter sign. And we saw a significant decrease in the number of folks essentially living on the hillside. So.
Where's the closest food support for the homeless in this area? Churches are available, or?
Yes, the churches and some of the food banks will come out and, you know, do mobile. I will tell you that some of the complaints that we see with that, and not so much here in El Sobrante, but in other parts of the west end of the county, is that one church in particular was doing just that. And while their intentions were very, very good and in the right place, they were drawing more folks to the area. And rather than the folks showing up, getting the services that were being provided, they were actually staying in the area, and it was having a negative impact on the other businesses that were in there. So we had to kind of find a balance, and also some of the services that were being provided weren't permitted, or they weren't taking the appropriate measures to do those things. So
A couple of other questions for.
I'm from SOS.
Oh, how you doing?
Hi, I'm Tony. Can I respond to that question, the factual information? So, there are a lot of churches, there's a lot of food offerings. The food bank of, Contra Costa in Solano is trying to organize teams to go out to enjoy people for CalFresh when our showers are at the El Portal Church. So they're trying to sync up because people are there who serve the occasion. Are you aware that SOS has offered to, we know a lot of the people who are out in encampments, we have people who are there every week, you know, people by name, and have a trusting relationship with them, as you know. We've offered to help help and encourage people to move from high fire danger to low fire danger, because if there's an abatement, it doesn't, you still have no place to go. But we have done this in the past because they know us, to say, explain the situation, and sometimes, like Bart asked us to help in Richmond in a place where they were doing construction, and you know, to offer them a gift card or something and say, and then we will move their belongings so they don't lose their belongings, and help find a place where it's not so. I mean, I helped with that report, so I know where all the spots are. That is at least it's a greener area or it's closer to the road so that you can get fire access. To somehow reduce that, and we've offered that to Councilman Vana. But we would be happy to be part of that if that is helpful, because if there's a, you know, signs posted and people are pushed out, then you still have the same, possibly the same problem.
So this is really helpful information. Maybe we could provide your contact info in the chat.
Absolutely.
And we do have a fairly busy agenda, so
Yes.
if we could have maybe one more question for
Thank you.
Lieutenant Rodriguez, if anybody has one. Any takers?
I have a quick one. I have a neighbor I have a very upset neighbor who has, who lives opposite to an RV that has been parked on the street for a long time, and as she believes has got suspicious activity going on there. She's been phoning in, and now she's afraid that the people there are going to start victimizing her.
So
What's your suggestion?
so I'm familiar with the neighbor you're referring to and the RV you're referring to.
Okay,
There has been enforcement action taken, that
Okay.
the individual has been contacted, and it is something we are currently working on.
okay, thank you.
And I completely understand her concerns. That is, my understanding is, not just the RV, but the actual residents. Because that person lives, just directly across the street is my understanding, is a problem also. So that's something that, be working with code enforcement to see if there's other things we can do to. try
Okay,
and
thank
correct
you
that.
so much.
Thank you. Any further questions for Lieutenant Rodriguez? Okay, in that case, thank you so much, sir, for your report and everything you do for us. Nice meeting you.
Yeah, likewise.
Deputy Rodriguez. And we do have as an agenda item, the approval of the minutes for June and July. And so those were included in the agenda packet. I would like to move to make a motion to approve the June and July minutes.
I'll second that.
Can we take a vote?
All in favor?
All in favor?
Please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? One abstention.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it, so.
So, I think what we can do now is sort of move back up the agenda. Do we have, fire protection here online or,
And
I don't see them online.
okay. So in that case, I'd like to introduce, Tanya Pulido. So she is filling in for, Supervisor Joya's office. Next month, we're going to have, Ronnie Williams,
I think he told me Miles or Mills.
Ronnie Mills.
Okay.
And so he's the new permanent, the successor to James and Edgar.
Yes.
So he'll be with us starting in September, but meanwhile, Tanya has been filling in and put together today's agenda, and she's gonna deliver Supervisor Joya's report.
And you're gonna wanna be in front of
Yeah.
that computer.
Yeah, I'm gonna move over here, and I just wanna apologize profusely for all of the challenges.
Can we just, before we start, I'm just, because we don't have this, the East Bay mud is gonna be a mess. Because they brought a presentation and nobody's gonna be able to see it.
Does anybody have a USB-C to HDMI converter?
Not with.
I mean, I don't understand.
Have it at,
Well, we're you.
do you want me to go home and get it? It's 5 minutes.
Yeah, that would be good.
All right.
That would be good. Thank you, Sue.
That's wonderful, thanks.
Because that doesn't really solve our camera problem, but that will at least allow us to see what's in the Zoom.
So
Yeah.
good thinking.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Tanya can go ahead with the county presentation.
Yeah, and I will definitely inform Ronnie about all of the ins and outs of the SMAC, so none of this will happen next month. My apologies again. So some updates that Supervisor Joya wanted me to give to you all was that there is a new wildfire coordinator for the fire district. And her name is Michelle, and she will be presenting at a future meeting about funding and opportunities to also Bronte. So she'll be an agenda in the future. And that there is a draft general plan coming out. And as a result, we will have another community feedback session. So when the draft comes out, we'll share it with everyone and then we'll coordinate a meeting so that we can get your feedback on it. And there's also been something that Supervisor Joya is working with Council Member Sohaila is the issues around the Clark Road maintenance. And basically there's a lot of back and forth around who should maintain it. Should be the private property owners or should it be the county? And so they are going to convene a meeting with East Bay Parks, the city, the county, and the private property owners to kind of decide who's going to maintain that road, Clark Road. So once they meet, Ronnie will come and present kind of his report back on that meeting. And there was one more.
So it's the measure
Yeah, let me give one more kind
Okay.
of like quick update. And then there's one other update, and that one's around the garbage bins on San Pablo Dam Road.
Yeah.
So they're gonna be removed per request of the El Sobrante Chambers. So that'll happen before the El Sobrante stroll.
Yeah.
That was the message.
Good news.
Yeah, okay.
Will there be other garbage cans to replace them of some sort? Are
So
people
the
gonna-
stroll will bring in garbage cans specifically for the day of the stroll. So I don't know whether there'll be, like those garbage cans, will they be emptied? Or will they be completely removed?
Emptied and removed from my understanding.
Is this a permanent move or?
Yeah, as per the request of the El Sobrante Chambers.
Does that mean we're not gonna have any garbage cans for
On
the
the Dam
public
Road
on Dam
anymore?
Road?
Ever?
So I
That's
guess the
great.
problem is that they don't get emptied and they just fill up. And so what you have are these just overflowing cans after a while. So it's almost better not to have them than to have.
Well, I guess on the third Saturday of the month, everybody's gonna be doing the damn
Oh,
road. It's
God.
gonna be filthy.
Yeah, that's not good.
Well,
That's not
I think we need to get clarity on that because from explanation from the chamber of what's happening and what's the replacement. Because from what Thomas said, I just observed it because I was getting my car washed. And they take a while, so I took a stroll past Rayleigh's down,
Mhm.
tapping way back, get some exercise, and I'm like, wow, these bins are. Yeah, so I think we just need to get some explanation on that, figure out what's going on, why are they being removed, is there gonna be a replacement, because it gets pretty, it's a commercial area, so it gets pretty dirty pretty quickly.
Who was supposed to empty them before? The bins are there. Somebody was supposed to empty them.
You would say,
Well, no rule.
I don't know, good question.
I mean, it doesn't do any good to put bins out there that nobody ever empties.
Well, now
It's like-
now you're making sense.
Maybe you need to go back to that. Maybe we need to go back to the original. You put the bins, who's supposed to take the garbage out of the bin?
You're still making sense.
I think that there was some sort of confusion between the county and the chamber and. I don't know why they aren't being emptied, but if there isn't support for emptying them. Then they're just going to get filled up and you're just gonna have piles of garbage.
So I'm just curious from a process point of view, if the chamber can just simply ask for these to all be removed and not ask anybody else. Like, I don't know, the illegal dumping and beautification, beautiful committee that we have on this map, that seems kind of, I get it for removing them for the stroll, because the stroll is a special event, but they need to come back and we need to figure out whether Republic's gonna pick it up or who's gonna do it and then who's gonna pay for it. Because I think having no trash pickup on the damn road is gonna be a disaster.
I have a question.
That's just my opinion.
Are you on, Thomas, are you on the part of the chamber?
So I only work on the stroll,
Okay,
but this has been discussed in the context of making sure that those things were
okay.
prior to the stroll, and I think from what I've heard in the past. These containers, these garbage bins do not belong to the county. That
Who do they belong to?
Well, that's what we.
I think the county thinks they belong to the chamber, and the chamber doesn't believe they belong to them.
Well,
This
we-
could be part of our report next month. I can include it as Ronnie's update to everyone.
I just want to say, as part of the Elsa Bronte Beautification Committee person that does monthly cleanups, I'm appalled that this is the first time I'm hearing of this, of these garbage cans being taken with no regard to being replaced, and I don't believe the chamber has a right to do that without consulting, and that has to be readdressed. That is not right.
Well, yeah, that's why we need clarification on.
Well, I thought it was a done, I'm sorry, I heard it was a done deal, and that's not okay.
I get that, which is why we need to find out specifically what's going on, if it is indeed a done deal, who is responsible for the bins, the upkeep, the clearing. I mean, they belong to somebody and somebody has to have paid for them.
So my feeling is honestly that the chamber is sort of passing the buck and not taking the responsibility to figure it out for our community. And the easy thing to do is get rid of them, but that's not the answer.
Okay, Tanya, I think this would be something for Supervisor Joy's office to investigate.
What I'll do is, I'll convey some of these sentiments to Nicole.
That's
to
good.
Nicole Don, so she's the president of the chamber.
That's good.
And so I'll bring up that these concerns have been brought up. Tanya, you can report it to Supervisor Joya, and
John and Nicole can work this out.
Yes.
Yeah,
Hold them accountable.
yeah, it's my understanding that it was paid for initially by the Chamber of Commerce, and they were supposed to have some kind of relationship with the county, not Republic Services. I'm not 100% sure, but I think the county was supposed to do it. But then the bins were designed in such a way that made it too difficult to empty them. But they need to come up with something. It's not, yeah, as Carrie said, it's not acceptable to just have no bins along the way where people are buying stuff and throwing things on the street, and then they count on the green team to pick it up, and that's not fair.
Well, it
It's
sounds
not
like-
fair to our community
it sounds like whatever.
or the green
It
team.
is, it is current. But certainly we can bring this up to John and to Nicole, and thank you for
And
your comment.
And once a month, I have lunch with the governmental relations person for Republic Services. So maybe Republic Services would like to help. Because maybe if we can figure out what bins they could pick up, maybe they would.
Yeah, or they'd need a separate contract, I believe, to do that, because I don't think they're contracted to do that at the moment.
Right, but, and
Right,
I get it,
right.
but they can't pick up those bins.
Yeah, but
So it's gotta be
every,
a different bin.
I'd imagine every downtown, every area would have public, some kind of thing going on.
Yeah, could we, or could you invite someone from the chamber, maybe their president, Nicole, to come and explain it to us about, so we could get it recorded?
Nicole goes to the same luncheon. I'm gonna sit with both of them next Wednesday.
I think maybe if I can ask, I think let John and Nicole work it out and then just bring the result to us. I'm not certain that Nicole needs to actually come to the meeting. Because I think that we know that they will have that conversation and what they will provide to us is, well, you know.
So I think we've got a path going forward for this, which is there's a general consensus that there has to be some sort of bin, some set of bins on the damn road. And so the question is, you know, what do we do once these ones that are difficult to service, you know, how do we replace them so that we don't get a buildup of garbage? So I'll make sure that both Nicole and Supervisor Joya get this feedback, and thank you all for bringing it up. Tanya, I guess you had another.
Yeah, one more item.
So this is a path that leads to a task for us, so go ahead.
Yeah, so Supervisor Joya is leading an effort to dedicate Measure X funds to unincorporated parks, facilities, and services. And so he's asking for all the match to support this initiative via like a support letter. And so there isn't an amount yet, like how much money is gonna be designated to this pot of funding, and there's not a process yet. It might be a committee, it might be through the max of how that money is distributed. But the goal is to have dedicated funds for unincorporated parks, facilities, and services, recreation services.
So what are we supposed to do?
Yeah.
So what we're supposed to do is write a letter of support
Mhm.
for that general task of finding resources. So
Using
The
Measure
Joy-
X
for
funds.
who? Joy is on.
using Measure X funds.
The Joy Development.
Yes, so we will be writing a letter of support to Joy. I'll write a letter of support to Joy's office. But what we need is a vote from the council, just to allow me to go ahead and write this.
Okay.
So all in favor of,
Can I do it the proper way? I make a motion that we say that Chairman Lang send a letter of support from the MAC regarding Proposition X.
thank you,
Second.
parliamentarian.
You're welcome.
Second.
Are there any
Okay, so
objections?
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, almost unanimous.
Okay.
All right, so I think Sue's trying to get set up with the. So it's either HDMI 1, HDMI 2, or
I
HDMI.
know, I'm trying really hard to do this. Do you have any idea? Something's happening here.
Okay. There we go. That's encouraging.
All right, now I have to
Yeah, you
figure out how
have
to
to
get
go
it
back
back
to the
to
Zoom meeting.
the Zoom meeting.
So.
There it is.
Oh, I see it.
Tap there.
So this would be, there's a person from Edmund here.
There are a bunch
David?
of us. There are four, 1, 2, 3, 4 of us.
So-
Excuse me. So,
Who's gonna be doing the presentation?
I'll ask. Let me go to the camera. They'll be surprised. I would appreciate much. I know them all.
Tanya has to give them.
Do they not have?
Hey, George.
Hello, everybody. Hello, my fellow East Bay Mud people. Which of you is going to be giving the presentation for the Sobriety Water Treatment Plant upgrade, construction, all that good stuff? Who's gonna do it?
It'll be Stella giving that presentation. I was gonna
Hey,
introduce
Stella.
her to.
How you doing, Stella?
Good, thank you. How are you guys doing over there?
I'm fine. I hope you're not too surprised to see me. This is my, one of my outside things, so.
No, I saw your name on the list. Good
Okay.
to see you.
We'll find out, won't we?
So I think you need to do.
All right, so,
Authorization to share.
yeah, exactly. So the person from Eastern Mud will be giving the presentation on the Sobrani Water Treatment Plant upgrades is one of the engineers named Stella Tan. And there she is right there. So she's gonna give the presentation. We are figuring out how we're gonna give you sharing privileges because we have a bit of a different setup than we normally do for these meetings. So we're working on this. So give us a moment.
She's a co-host now.
You co-host now? Okay.
So I think you can share.
Stella, you're a co-host now, so you should be able to share your screen. I don't think she heard you, so.
Oh, I can hear you. I was gonna let Joe make some opening remarks first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eyes on your computer. And-
Our,
Okay. So the
Yeah,
speaker hooked up?
have the technical, has the technical side been figured out over there in the room?
Yes, test 1, 2, 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 test, test 1, 2.
It's coming in. Is it working?
Can you all speak online for a second?
Yeah, no problem. Can you hear me? No, you can't. Can you hear me?
It's not really picking up through here.
Oh,
Well.
So.
Stella, why
Yeah,
don't you
we're
speak?
just gonna get feedback.
It would be helpful if the people that are not muted, that are either in the room or online would mute themselves. So we didn't hear background conversation. Thanks.
Yes.
Best we can.
So you guys can see our see the Zoom on a projector in the room. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Okay, so I'll just introduce quickly the project and my colleague Stella. Good evening, everybody. My name is Joe Volker. I'm a community affairs representative who covers the Sobrante water treatment plant in the city of El Sobrante. El Sobrante is represented on East Bay Mud's board of directors by board director Marguerite Young, who sends her regards and wishes that she could be here tonight. East Bay Mud last presented to the MAC on May 10th of this year to discuss our recently adopted budget and rates and how we were investing in our future. Tonight, we're here to discuss one of those major investments. Our Sobrante Water Treatment Plant Reliability Improvements Project team is here to provide an overview of the project, as well as an update on project revisions that were made to incorporate community input following 3 public meetings that East Bay Mud held on this project. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Stella Tan, project manager for the Sobrante Improvements Project. And Stella, please take it away.
Thank you, Joe. Let me share my screen here. Can you see my presentation and the laser pointer?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
All right, great. And let me get oriented here with the images. So, all right, thank you everyone for working with our need for providing the presentation. And good evening. Again, my name is Stella Tan. I'm an associate civil engineer at East Bay Mud. And thank you for allowing us to provide this briefing for the Sobrante Water Treatment Plant Reliability Improvements Project. So East Bay Mud has completed site planning and community scoping meetings and is currently in the process of preparing an environmental impact report for the Sobrante Water Treatment Plant project. Today's briefing includes the project purpose and scope, site and landscape plans, conceptual visual simulations, project schedule, and next steps. And I'm going to make this video smaller for myself here. All right. This project will take place at the Sobrante Water Treatment Plant, which is one of East Bay Mud's 6 water treatment plants. The Sobrante Water Treatment Plant provides water to the area that's circled in the red dotted line from Richmond to Crockett. The area is also served by the Orinda Water Treatment Plant. However, during high water demand periods, the Sobrante Water Treatment Plant is also needed. Providing additional capacity at the Sobrante Water Treatment Plant is needed and becomes increasingly important during periods of drought and wildfires, when East Bay Mud water sources are more particle heavy and we experience reduced water treatment capacity at the Orinda Water Treatment Plant. So additional capacity at the Sobrante Water Treatment Plant will provide resilience as we experience emerging environmental changes. Sorry, Zoom screen. The purpose of this project is to replace aging infrastructure, to meet existing and future water demands, to maintain water quality and reduce disinfectant byproducts, to support drought operations, and to provide treatment capacity as we experience changing untreated water quality or as we experience untreated water aqueduct outages. This project has 2 components, which includes new structures at the Sobrante Water Treatment Plant located in this orange circled area here in phase 1 and phase 2 of the project. And there's also a new pipeline in phase 2 shown here in yellow. New structures will be constructed at the Sobrante Water Treatment Plant, which is located east of Highway 80, north of San Pablo Dam Road, and northwest of the San Pablo Reservoir, which supplies this water treatment plant. The Central North Aqueduct Pipeline is shown here and is located in the communities of El Sobrante and Rollingwood and in the cities of Richmond and San Pablo. The pipeline is primarily located along San Pablo Dam Road, El Portal Drive, Rollingwood Drive, and Road 20. This is a map showing the El Sobrante limits in blue. Approximately half of the Sobrante Water Treatment Plant structures and about 2.5 miles of the Central North Aqueduct Pipeline will be located in El Sobrante. The southern portion of the Sobrante Water Treatment Plant property is located in El Sobrante, as you can see here. And the Central North Aqueduct pipeline traverses San Pablo Dam Road, De Avila Way, and La Honda Road. The scope of the project includes constructing new structures to increase the reliable capacity of the Sobrante Water Treatment Plant. In phase 1, in the near term, the water treatment plant capacity will be restored to 60 million gallons per day. In phase 2, in the long term, the capacity will be increased to 80 million gallons per day. And to provide some context, currently the water treatment plant capacity is about 45 million gallons per day. After phase 1 is completed, we will demolish existing aging structures. The demolition work happens after phase 1 structures are completed because the existing structures are needed until the new ones are constructed and operational. In phase 2, we will construct the Central North Aqueduct pipeline in order to convey that phase 2 treatment capacity. The Sobrante Water Treatment Plant site plan is shown here and was developed with input from the community. To orient you, this is Valley View Road here and Amend Road here. Phase 1 facilities are shown in yellow and phase 2 facilities are shown in pink. And the facilities planned for demolition are shown on the other side of Valley View Road in this kind of striped yellow color. After receiving public comments, structures were shifted further southward to increase the distance between the structures and Amend Road. And the distance was increased from about 50 feet to about 110 feet. The current spacing that we've maintained is to still allow space for new pipelines as well as large vehicle truck turns. Based on community feedback, buildings visible from Amend Road were also designed in a Mission Revival style to match the neighboring Richmond Fire Station and homes. This is a view of the buildings from inside the water treatment plant. The view from Amend Road will be shared shortly in the conceptual visual simulations. The project site and landscape plan is shown on this slide. The landscape plan includes a berm to screen the equalization basins, shown here. Trees and shrubs were also placed on the berm as well as along the fence line, shown here, in order to improve aesthetics and screening while maintaining security visibility. And East Bay Mud plans to install landscaping as early as possible to provide time for trees to become established, but we also have to make sure to avoid installing any landscaping that would become damaged during the construction of the project. The key site views shown here were identified for the Sobrante Water Treatment Plant based on the greatest visibility of the improvements. View 1 is the entry road to the water treatment plant. View 2 is Heavenly Ridge Road, which is which is an elevated view of the improvements. View 3 is Amend Road High, which has the highest elevation view of the improvements on Amend Road in front of the water treatment plant. View 4 is Amend Road Low, which has a low elevation view of the property. And view 5 is Christopher Court, which has a distant elevated view of the improvements. And views from the south part of the site, as well as the east portion, are obscured by the natural terrain and trees, so views from these areas are not included as key views. And among the views that were identified, the community was most concerned with views from Amend Road, located here. And in the interest of time, today I'll share the conceptual visual simulations of View 3, Amend Road High, and View 4, Amend Road Low, since these views look most directly at the improvements. And for anyone who's interested to see visual simulations of the other views, they can be accessed on the Sobrante Water Treatment Plant project website, which I'll link at the end of this presentation. This slide shows the existing views at the 5 key sites, as I mentioned. Today, I'll share the visual simulations of the project improvements in views 3 and views 4. This is the view at Amend Road High under existing conditions. This is the view after structures and the screening berm are constructed with installed landscaping. And notice the Mission Revival style process building visible here. This is the view 5 years after construction is completed and landscaping has had time to establish and grow. And this is the view 10 years after construction is completed and landscaping has had time to fully mature. This is the view at Amend Road Low under existing conditions. This is the view after structures and the screening berm are constructed with installed landscaping. This is the view 5 years after construction is completed and landscaping has had time to establish and grow. And then this is the view 10 years after construction is completed and landscaping has had time to fully mature. To provide context for overall project schedule, we are currently in the planning stage of the project where we develop the conceptual design and execute environmental review and public outreach. Planning started in 2021 and will be completed in 2025. After planning is completed, we will begin phase 1 design, which includes the design of the phase 1 structures and completion of agency permitting. Phase 1 design is scheduled from 2027 to 2030. And then phase 1 construction then follows, where we construct the phase 1 structures. And phase 1 construction is scheduled from 2030 to 2035. Next is phase 2 design. The timing for phase 2 design and construction is still to be determined and will occur when water demand projections are realized. Phase 2 design includes the design of phase 2 structures and pipeline, as well as the completion of agency permitting. And phase 2 construction is the last stage where we construct the phase 2 structures and the pipeline. The next steps include preparing the draft environmental impact report, which will be released in the summer of 2024. And for more information, as I mentioned, you can access the project information at the project website shown here. The visual simulations for all key site views can be accessed there in past public meeting presentation slides. And then if you have any questions or comments, you can send us an email at the project email or through physical mail. And with that, I'll open it up for questions and comments.
Okay, great. Stella, if you'd be so kind as to put that contact information in the chat.
Yes, I can do that.
So, yeah, we'd like to open it up. Questions, maybe first from the council, questions or comments, try keeping it to 2 minutes each.
I'll start. Stella, who's the project manager again? Because you said you are, but the information says that somebody else. So if people want to direct comments via snail mail, should they send them to you or should they send them to Jay Park?
Jay Park is actually leading the project moving forward, and so he would be the one to contact.
Cool. Thank you, Stella.
Yes, thank you for asking.
Questions from the council for Stella and colleagues?
Is this going to be available for the public to access the presentation that you just gave?
It's in the agenda.
It's in the agenda and it's already, okay.
Does someone have the code?
Yeah, and we'll also be posting it on the project website, so it should be available in 2 places through the MAC website, I imagine, and East Bay Muds as well for this project. And I can include in the chat as the project website, which is where it will be posted.
Okay, are there other questions? Anybody? Nikki?
Does the environmental impact report include noise pollution?
Yes, the project environmental impact does include noise, and once that draft report is completed, it'll be available for review and will provide opportunities for additional comment.
Okay, are there further questions? Yeah.
I have one question. You said on Lower Amend Road that you were gonna leave it open for big trucks and pipelines to be built there, and yet I thought I saw landscaping, so I'm confused about where the landscaping starts and stops at the lower end of Amend, going toward Valley View.
Yeah, and let me pull up this slide as a reference. Let's see.
I was at the meeting for the aesthetics, so I'm very curious what got decided.
Sure. Here we go. Yeah, so when I was talking about spacing between structures, I was referring to the space in between structures located in the interior, and the landscaping there won't be any pipelines inside the areas with landscaping.
I just wondering how the trucks could get through if it was blocked with landscaping.
I'm sorry, would you mind repeating that? I'm having a little trouble hearing you.
Trucks are going to enter on the men.
Oh, you're right. So yes, trucks will be entering from Amend Road and entering the Amend Road entrance to the water treatment plant right located here. And maybe I should turn my pointer on in case
Thank you.
that helps. Yeah, so through here.
See landscaping there, but it's different than what I thought it was.
Yeah,
But you can now see that the gates below.
yeah, parallel to the
Thank you.
entrance.
So what she meant was they can turn around within the site,
Yeah, and
not outside the site.
exactly. I think one more in the back. Yes, Chris.
Yeah, I just, as a point of public comment, say, I really think there's been vast improvement in this, from what it was originally, particularly the design of the buildings and the, adding the berm, it really helped the project a lot visually. So I want to thank you guys for taking our input seriously on that regard.
I second that.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the MAC or from the public?
Yeah, can you clarify which buildings on La Honda are going to be removed? I live off of La Honda, so I'm kind of curious.
Yeah, let me find that slide here. All right, and you can see my screen with the laser pointer.
Yes.
Yeah, so Valley View Road is here and Amend Road is here. And on La Honda, there's a structure inside here that will be replaced or it'll be removed and be replaced in the existing water treatment plant or the larger portion of the water treatment plant.
So it won't be there anymore and nothing's replacing that in that spot?
So there will still be other structures in this property, but this particular tank, for the moment, we don't have a long-term plan for that location. We do know that we will be using this space for possible parking during construction as a part of phase 2 of the project.
Good, that should make the neighbors happier because I was at a meeting where the neighbors on the street, La Honda Court, which is right behind it, were all upset about the aesthetics of the loss of trees and then looking down at this building that looked kind of prison-like. So I think that'll make them happy, you know.
Oh, brutalist architecture.
Yeah, I think they'll be happy to know that that's gonna go away.
So I have a question about the pipeline. So pipeline that's being constructed, will that go directly under the dam road or next to it?
I'm sorry, there's quite a bit of an echo. I wonder if there's if you could come closer to the mic or if someone near the computer could repeat your question.
Yeah, just the question about the pipelines, the pipeline that will be constructed, will that run directly under the dam road or is that going to be by the side of the road?
The exact location is still to be determined where it will go in the road. That will require kind of higher detailed planning based on what's located currently in the street. But typically we prefer to put the pipeline inside the road and, you know, typically within lanes is more ideal because makes it easier for less disruption. But it will depend on what's existing in the road right now.
Oh, but I want to know how many months or years will the dam road be torn up?
The construction of the pipeline would be done in segments. And so the exact timing, I don't have off the top of my head. Let me see.
Phase 1, so that's after 2035.
It's gonna be a while before it happens.
I personally am not going to be alive by then, so.
Yeah, and if you would like to know more specifics about the schedule right now, it is kind of a higher level schedule. But if you wanted to know more information, it might be easiest for you to send us an email if there was a specific question that you had in mind. But yes, it will be after 2035, and at this point, possibly even 2045.
Yeah, it's a while and yeah, so.
I have a question as well. Stella, can you, on the map where you were showing La Honda Road, can you point out where Olinda Road is? I'm not clear about where the project is going to run into the dam road on Valley View, but I don't see Olinda anyplace on your map, unless I'm just not very directional.
Yeah, let me see if I can take a look at Google Maps really quickly, because I'm not sure I can think of Olinda off the top of my head.
No, okay.
Show the map again, but it's not, Olinda's not close to Mint.
Yeah.
Not in the sense of the project.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
'cause-
it's the next road down on that side, though.
Oh, Olinda. Okay, I see it. Yes, let me. Yeah, the scale of this map probably won't show it, but I can. But the pipeline turns on D'Avila Way, which is on the other side of Valley View Road from
Correct.
Olinda Road. Yes. So maybe it would help for me to show the Google.
There's a
map
little
instead.
tiny shopping center and a gas station on the corner.
Yeah, let me share Google Maps instead. And
Ian, are you saying that the shopping center at Olinda and Valley View where the Commons Insurance and the Indian restaurant behind the gas station, is that what you're talking about?
Yep.
Oh, that's not near the project. Not too close anyways. It's a little bit.
So the big empty lot then across the street from it is not as well.
Yeah, that lot is.
right, so yeah, sorry, you got it. It sounds like you're answering the question, George.
So I think we've had a good discussion, and
I'm sorry. So the big empty lot there is that it's going around that.
So the pipeline will go on San Pablo Dam Road and then turn onto D'Avila Way before it turns onto La Honda. So it won't come into this area near Valley View Road in Olinda.
And where Valley View and the dam road intersect.
That's correct. It will
Okay.
not go through this intersection. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
for no further questions about the water treatment project, I think we can probably move on to our next agenda item.
Also, I just want to say on behalf of the back, because I know we spoke, Stella, Joe, and David, and Serge, and Karen, thank you for coming to the meeting. I would make a suggestion that the next meeting, if you're coming to an update for any meeting, it would be nice if you could come in person, because we've been having these meetings in person since March. So, but thank you all for coming.
I want to echo that. I appreciate it. Really clear, nice presentations. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Noted, George. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Right.
Area control.
So the next item on the agenda is county file number CDL P23 -02026. So this, the applicant has applied to the county for approval of a land use permit application to allow the establishment of an auto repair shop in this property that will provide auto repair services related to vehicle maintenance and repair. We will offer routine services such as brake services, oil change, suspension, transmission, engine tune-ups, spark plug replacements. Is there any representative of the project online?
Maybe, I mean, Steve is a local, I don't know. That's Howard, but that's just me. Only me, so you might be working.
Is there anybody who can speak to this project? Sort of. Okay, so
Do you have a map of it?
yes, we do.
Oh.
Maybe what we could do is put them, if we could go to the agenda on the computer, we could put some of the maps up.
Can you do that?
You know what, when I looked it up on the address, it looked like it was at the site where The Arco station was.
That became the Valero.
Valero.
The Valero, okay, so that's Valero and it's right next to it or behind it.
So it's right next to the strip mall with the donut place.
Yes, so it's the Valero, yeah, it's the Valero gas station. On Dam Road, it's next to the strip mall that has neighborhood donuts and the Chinese food restaurant and all of that. And,
Oh, so
So
there.
where's the repair shop?
well, it's on the same lot as the gas station, you know, but.
So it's going to be, the thing is, it's going to replace the gas station?
I couldn't tell on that, but I'd like to say that I'm not keen on it, just in principle, because. Another one, there's already three right down the street on Dam Road, there's one or two more on Appian. This property, from what I can tell, is like this far, sorry, you can't see, like, not, it's very close to the creek. And it's like, does it really need, do we really need it?
So our point is, our purpose here in terms of the discussion, you know, the county approves it or disapproves it based on a number of factors. And one of the factors that the county evaluates is our assessment of the neighborhood impact. And so what we can evaluate here is what we think the impact of another auto repair and maintenance places. I know there's El Sobrante Town Garage, which is right down the street, and then there's El Sobrante Wheel and Tire, which is right next to that.
TND Auto.
Yep.
So there are already three.
What? TND? Eric?
Anyhow, as Thomas would say.
So it would be good, perhaps, starting with the council, to go around the table and just give an assessment of what we think the impact of this project is going to be on El Sobrante.
And I'll just read it, I'll summarize.
You summarize.
More noise, more fumes. Not a service that's lacking, potential concerns about impact on the creek. That's it.
Okay, Jim, any?
No, I would say that George is exactly correct. I don't think well, honestly, with taking personally, we don't need another auto repair shop. Yeah. I mean, El Sobrante is already, to me, I mean, I've lived there most of my life. That's amazing to think of, ever since the 9th grade, I'm 77 now. But that's a long time, but it's never, ever. I mean, I look at downtown El Sobrante and I look at downtown Lafayette, and I look at downtown, and I look at downtown Albany. Because when I was young, Lafayette downtown and downtown Albany were not excited. But Lafayette used the funds of the state to build up, and it was beautiful. And Albany, the same thing. If you go up Solano Avenue, I mean Albany, and El Sobrante is the same little town, and it's got a lot of gas stations. It's got not a lot of gas stations, a lot of auto repair, a lot of bars, a lot of liquor stores.
And mini storage.
And mini storage. It's big. That's got more expensive.
So
That's huge now.
So
That's,
basically, this is not in any way going to add to our downtown vision.
no,
I mean, if I have the legal right to oppose it, I would like to oppose this.
me too.
And because we also auto wash, it's all about cars all the way down there. This is going to be yet another thing that, just like you were saying,
Right.
so I would strongly oppose it.
Melinda, any?
Our 2024 plan envisions that potentially we could have some kind of pedestrian area. And it would be located around the Mechanics Bank area if it could happen. This would not add to that 2024 plan. In fact, I think it would be against the spirit of the 2024 plan.
Sure.
I agree.
Okay. Nikki?
So have they thought of student housing or senior housing or something that would accommodate our citizens?
That's a different question.
I know.
The question is, do you want auto-
Well, that's not the 2024 plan either. This is the one area we have that is truly commercial.
So Nikki?
Yeah, I think we have enough auto repairs and gas station. My original thinking though was if it's replacing if it's already a gas station and they're expanding it into like a little repair center or something, then I wouldn't have that much of a problem with it. But if it's adding a lot of new construction and other things, I'd rather see something else there
Yeah.
as well.
So this might be a good opportunity to.
Mhm.
Oh, Emily, I'm sorry.
I would agree, it would not add to our quality of life.
So-
And I think specifically, we can say, does this meet the spirit of the 2024 plan? Which we've done a lot of work on. And this would be one more barrier to doing 2040 plan.
Yeah.
The 2040 plan, which is about to come forward, and we talk a lot about trying to create a pedestrian friendly area. And this would be within that scope of that area.
So
I
not
think.
only pedestrian friendly, but something that has mixed business and residential.
Right.
Yes.
And
So
so-
maybe this would be a good opportunity to get opinion from the community, Anne Marie.
Not a big opinion, but I go to that gas station. What, I don't know what the name of this permit is asking for, the name of the business, but. Right there in that yellow, there is already an auto shop that is open, and I heard the noise coming from it. It's Something Works, the last part, it's two names and the last word is works. They're already up and operating. And it's right there, actually, in your yellow box.
That's interesting.
That's my gas station.
Neo Works.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
They're already operating.
So the applicant is Maria Revere, Fernando from Neo Works.
Yep, Neil Works is the name. And
So
they're already open.
That's
Well,
trouble.
I mean, I heard a lot of noise when I pulled up just
That's
like
not
this
good.
week. to get-
So I haven't gone to the Valero lately. So where are they in relation to the Valero?
So right when you pull up to get your gas, up three, right there's the door. They are physically attached with a shared wall. They're on the left-hand side. It used to be a smog place. And then it stopped for a long time, and it was empty for a very long time. They have a big sign that says Neil Works. They have a door there, but they have arrows telling you to go around the corner to come into their business. And they have new painted, which looks nice, new painted spaces to park vehicles now, because before that it was just like all asphalt. And I heard a lot of noise and I thought, oh, another auto shop, so.
But it's an expansion of the Valero.
Well, it shares the wall. It
Right, so
shares
it's
the
just
wall in
behind
the same building. No, it's right next to it, it's next to
Got
it, yeah.
I didn't notice, I lived right there.
Oh, I didn't notice until I saw the things that says work, it's a big sign.
So.
I can reach out to the planner.
Yeah, so,
This is not the first time that, the Arco, and then they want to put Valero signs. We had it as an issue, the signs are up already. This is not the first time that we've got something that's already been done. Yeah, I'm not sure why we're getting these requests. Why are we getting requests if the county's already allowed it to happen?
Valero was land use, not change.
No, they were for the signs, not that, the signs that they put up.
So this
was something that.
So this is a fait accompli, that was a fait accompli.
It's already done.
so maybe they were given.
Well, that's a good question to ask. I mean, you need to ask John. I mean, so we're getting something that is supposedly to be discussed, but it's already done.
I can ask the county planner
What I'd like to do
to
is.
clarify.
Yeah, so what I'd like to do, this is what we
They have no
typically do,
information.
is I write a letter to the planner that summarizes the opinion of the council and contributions from the community.
Mhm.
And I basically agree with what everybody said here, that this in no way really benefits us, and it goes against the spirit of what we're all trying to accomplish, which is to make us more of a resident-friendly city with more things for families and more things for people to get together, and not just another liquor store, auto place, gas station, etc. And I think that we could say this is the community feedback. And by the way, we noticed that this business is already operating in this location. Why is this and why are we receiving this now?
So does our concern impact them to go speak with them about taking it down?
Not necessarily, the way it should work the way it should work is they have a whole, you know, a business comes to the county for a land use permission. And a number of factors go into that land use permission, which is the county's assessment of whether it, you know, agrees with zoning and the county's projected development plan. And then one of the factors is us, right? So we have this council that is the community's opinion of what the impact on the community is. And they take what we say and they weigh it along with everything else. But this should be done before the business.
Here's the thing, look at the file date.
Well,
That's June
June
30th.
30th.
We're August 8th, 9th, so we're hearing about this. Right, what a meeting, so they filed this on that day, meaning Anne Marie's talking about stuff they've done. I didn't see it, I walked past it, but it was like a week and a half ago, so between the time I walked past it and today, they could have been doing stuff. So, and Mr. Herman is right, because I remember we had the issue with this entity, they changed, they did all, let's do all this stuff, and like, hey, we're gonna do stuff. And we bring it to us, like, oh, look, it's been done already. So it's a timing thing, and it's also, frankly, from what I can gather, it's kind of a disrespectful thing based upon the owner, property owner and the applicant.
This is conservation and development.
Well, that too, but it also is timing and stuff like that. Sure.
You wanna take,
Go
you want a
ahead.
motion? You want it, maybe?
You approve of what I proposed to write
Yeah,
today.
I would like to make a motion that, we could see if the majority, favors Tom writing the letter.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I second.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm just gonna send an email to the planner, CC Tanya and, you know, John, and just point out the, you know, what I basically said that, you know, as a community, this, we don't believe this helps us at all.
Or maybe you switch paragraphs. You put the first paragraph is, I understand it's already been done. Why are we getting this? By the way, we all talked about it. We don't want it. You know, so what are you gonna do about it now, guys? Right? I mean, that's it, yeah.
Good suggestion. So, looks like we have approval for that. So you'll see the email to, the planner. I guess it's gonna be, who's the planner?
Can we ask for a moratorium on auto places?
It doesn't look like
Sadly, we
this has been
We
another
cannot.
thing. They don't list the planners on the agenda paperwork sometimes. So maybe Tanya, you
Mhm.
find out who it is and I can see that maybe.
Go back home.
One more page.
No, the other way.
Other kinds
Right there. Oh, is there a planner on there? Yeah, there's a planner.
All right.
Dominique, you got her name now.
She's the new one. She's new out there.
So Emily, you have a question?
I mean, I guess it's a larger question, but if all we get, which is all I've seen, is requests for auto mechanic places, is the issue that we're not. That El Sobrante is not enticing other kinds of businesses to seek a permit?
Not necessarily, because while, you know, you haven't been here for this lady. We had, a young, well, I call her a young woman because she's young compared to me, who is, bringing it was described as an event planning, site. But
It's an event venue, it's lovely.
It's an event venue and it's on Dam Road and. Yeah, and basically what was going on is the planners were putting her through the ringer for God knows why. I have my own reasons why I thought it was, but I didn't think I wanted to bring it here. But that's just my opinion, which I kept to myself. But it just didn't make any sense because it's the type of business of stuff that we would be looking for because she's planning events that were kind of family oriented, personal oriented, like mini retreats, like potential wedding counseling, things of a personal nature that were like, oh, that's a pretty cool thing to do. And nothing, you know, it's like, but the planning is like, you have to do this, and what about this, and this, and that, and this, but it's like.
Well, they forced her into land use.
Yeah.
And what had been there before was a church, and I'm here to tell you, a church and what she's doing are the same thing.
Yeah, it was a similar activity, and it was like, it was not the lowest, but then when we have something like this, it's like. Understand, so my thing is.
Well, but her question was, are we attracting the right business?
I'm getting
there.
I'm getting the answer. It seems like that, this is my opinion, it seems like because we're a small unincorporated, not particularly wealthy community, that was like. What? Oh, sure, put a liquor store there, put an auto repair shop there, put a smoke shop there. What, you wanna bring something nice to El Sobrante? Oh, we're gonna put you through the ringer. That's just how I feel about it.
Another thing, is another thing may be
That's
that-
how I feel about it.
It just may be that kind of the form factors of the different lots kind of.
It could be, but at the same time, it's like we want something better.
We deserve better.
I think a big part of, yes, all the years, Dan Road has become freeway. Dan Road is a freeway between one side and the other side. People coming from Orinda go this way, people go back at night. Nobody's stopping.
But
You
San Pablo is also a freeway going through El Cerrito. going
But it's
through-
for
I mean,
lane, but it's for,
Well, that's
possible,
Pablo
yeah,
Avenue.
yeah, same thing.
Which
But-
is a little different than Dan Road.
No,
Yeah,
I understand,
we're
what
not
I'm
tracking.
saying is that you can be the kind of commuter road that people are coming home from that has restaurants, that has different kinds of gastro, I mean, there's different kinds of things.
Yeah, we're not attracting.
But I think that thing about the rubber stamp is actually pretty interesting.
That's just my opinion, but
Yeah.
also the San Pablo Avenue, because it's all, the difference there, at San Pablo Avenue, everything is city. So there's a different infrastructure in each city, and it's also not quite as, I'll call it free form, because San Pablo, the corridor is pretty much almost entirely commercial, there is residential, of course, apartment buildings, and actually some houses on San Pablo, it's particularly in Berkeley. But this is just like residential, also the topography, because San Pablo Avenue is flat and straight. I was talking with the clinic, I'm reading before it started, I said, maybe a coordination with CHP and San Pablo at the top by the freeway, because people fly down that. And if they don't hit the red lights, they are zooming through downtown El Sobrante at twice the speed limit. So they're not interested in stopping, and they should be, but is there something to stop for?
Okay,
So, I've had enough.
thank you.
Chris,
I was thinking, it seems to me like when you talk about what are we businesses trying to draw here, it seems to me like that's what we're doing with commerce as a specific interest in. We have the master plan, which is from the county and developed by ESMAC and so forth. I think it would be good perhaps to invite, the shape of power talk to talk about how do you attract the kind of.
Yeah.
How do you attract?
The word entice and attract.
Yeah, and then get the supervisor's office in it as well, and it seems to me like, since I'm on the MAC, of course, I can't really speak too much, but also like we could use a subcommittee to talk about that. It's a little bit related to beautification, but it's a whole different thing. We talk about how do we attract the businesses we want here and what kind of businesses are those? But I think like engaging the chamber in this conversation is essential.
Okay, so this looks like a good thing for agenda items and future SMAC speakers. So I'll reach out to Nicole Dons, who's the chamber president, see if she would like to come in and just talk about the chamber. And, relay our concerns about we're just not getting the businesses we like, that are just would make it more of a community, that more of a livable community.
And for the businesses that are already here, how can they support our community a little more with like trash cans, for example, or something like that, more beautification stuff.
So I think we have a discussion and an action for this item, so we can go to our next item on the agenda.
And I
which
think you can put it strongly felt. because
Strongly felt.
clearly-
I'm gonna say my first sentence is the SMAC was dismayed by the observation.
Yes, yeah. Thank you.
Good
Thank
start, Thomas.
It's May.
That's
All right.
dismayed, disappointed, disillusioned, take your pick.
Thank you.
And nobody was here even to represent the.
There is that.
So what's next? So what's next? They don't subcommittee reports. Any subcommittee reports? Mickey, any?
Nikki, yeah. Oh, yeah, sure. Okay, subcommittee report. So we had a wonderful meeting last month of the cleanup and beautification committee. We had a great report by SOS Richmond. by O'Neill Fernandez. I mean, SOS, yeah, SOS, about their expansion of their services to the unsheltered community in our area. And we had a great presentation by Sponners as well. And then we started our planning for our coastal cleanup day, which is going to be Saturday, September 23rd. And it's a collaboration between the group, the El Sobrante Green Team, Sponners and SOS Richmond and the library here as well. And the supervisor's office and Republic Services. So once again, we're going to try to make an outreach and invite as much of the community that would to come and support our cleanup. We're gonna have a major cleanup and try to hit up as many areas as we can in the streets and also the creeks. So it's going to start at 9:30 in the morning, the cleanup for people to come in and sign up. And we have, as usual, we'll have equipment for our volunteers, such as grabbers, vests, buckets, gloves. And then we'll send them out to a location that has litter on it and to clean it up. And that would be also streets and creeks. And also, as Richmond is going to pay extra attention to a couple encampments to clean those up and collect the litter that they get for that day. So again, that's Saturday, September 23rd. Following the cleanup, starting at 11:30, we're going to have a volunteer appreciation program, including some entertainment and food and info tables as usual. The library is going to have a book display on a relevant related topic of the coastal cleanup. And what we want to emphasize is that when we are cleaning up the streets, we are also helping to save the creeks, because a lot of the litter goes into the creeks. If we clean up the creeks, it's helping to save the coast. If we clean the coast, which there's going to be, since it is a national and global day, there are going to be people in California all along the coast that day. So aside from our local little event, well, hopefully it won't be that little, but there will also be opportunities for people to join cleanups along the San Francisco Bay that day, September 23rd. So our after program, and we're going to have some donations of food and things like that for our volunteers. And Sue is going to lead children's art activities as well.
Grown-ups welcome too.
Huh?
Grown-ups are welcome.
Yeah, Joe, yeah, welcome too. And we're working on the entertainment. We'll let you know if there's going to be like a special thing or not. But we are going to have some form of entertainment that day. There will not be a third Saturday cleanup because we're going to do it on the fourth Saturday to join the coastal cleanup. On the third Sunday, however, the Green Team is going to be having a booth there, an info booth for during the stroll. And we are going to be participating in the parade. So I'd like to invite the public, any of you who are there listening and want to be a part of our parade contingency. We're going to have a lot of fun with that. Please be in touch with me if you'd like to know more information about our rehearsals and all that as well. And our next upcoming third Saturday cleanup is August 19th from 10 to noon. We once again meet at the library. The library has been a great partner for us in staging our cleanup events. And we just start here, and then we go out into the community to clean up. And I'm really happy to see that people are stepping up more in our community. It looks like people are taking it upon themselves, and we always encourage volunteers just to go out on your own, adopt an area near your property or near where you live to keep it clean. If everybody did that, we'd have a really
We
clean,
wouldn't need
super
cleanup
clean.
days.
We won't need the cleanup days, but that's what we hope to do. And we also hope to make an outreach to the school. I made contact fortunately with a member of the Board of Education who's going to help me try to connect with some of the local schools, and Sue also is involved now, more involved with some of the schools, and she hopes to make more of an outreach because we really believe that the schools need to be a partner with us, you know, and teach the kids, get the kids involved. The kids will get their parents involved and their families involved in taking more ownership in terms of keeping our neighborhoods clean. And we also have postcards if people want any postcards to put out so that they know about our third Saturday cleanups, which is an ongoing thing. But also come by our booth at the Stroll on September 17th, and again, be in touch with me. And I'd like to invite anybody from the green team to add to anything that I have, would I forget?
We want to improve literacy.
Oh. That's good. Yes, we want to really start thinking in terms of having a PR campaign with PSAs and in Spanish and in English to make more of an outreach to raise the consciousness around littering and dumping in our area. So that's it for my report.
Okay.
There's a free dump day. I don't know if you know about it.
Yes.
Free.
Thank you for reminding us on August 26th
Over on,
at the church.
at the church.
A free.
Morningside, right at the intersection of Valley View and Morningside Drive.
Oh, okay.
I
Oh,
think
that's
it's.
It's the church there.
It's the church.
There, that's right. On August 26th, they're gonna be collecting hazardous waste and other, I think, electronic waste in general.
Oh, and I think this is the mattresses, yeah.
Yes, mattresses. Thank you, Shirley.
Day or?
It's a big gun. It's a thing that's being operated out of that church parking lot. And I'd also like to bring up the fact that there's going to be, and the public is invited to this, a movie night on August 18th. About the homeless situation. There was a contingency from El Sobrante that went to Austin, Texas to see what they are doing, and they've come up with some interesting solutions or things that they can do. And the public is invited to that. And do you have information about that?
Yeah, it's at El Sobrante United Methodist Church, 5151 Argyle. And I could send you the flyer if you like. It's from 7 to 9, so it's on a Friday evening. It's free. If possible, it's free, but it's possible to sign. There's a little QR code to sign up so we know who's coming, how many people to prepare for. The delegation, I think most all the delegation members will be going there. They're all folks from Richmond, I think. And the documentary is really, really inspiring. It's about this place called Community First. And it was they wanted to do it in Austin, the city of Austin wouldn't let them, so they had to put it outside of Austin. It's a 51-acre planned community, and they created it. It was mainly a faith-based initiative to create it's like an oasis. It's got I've seen it twice. It's got farms. It has a farm, has a huge a garden, and then they house permanent supported housing for chronically unhoused people. But they also have people from the community who've given up their homes to go live there because it's such an amazing place. So it's really, it's called Community First. It's very cool.
And it's August 18th. Friday, August 18th.
August 18th, yeah, also Bronte United Methodist Church, 5151 Argyle. Tell me who I should send the flyer to, and I will.
Send it.
Well,
Tanya.
I'm just Tanya's favorite.
you can send it to Tanya, but I'd also appreciate it because I can
Yes.
include it in my, I'm gonna have a
If you have
mailing.
like a link or something, you can put it in the chat.
I'm not on
And
the.
anything you send to Sohala usually gets everywhere.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Sohala and you hit Tanya, it'll go everywhere.
Yeah.
So I think we can probably,
Oh, I think Chris had one thing to add.
Yeah, I just want to mention that the Triangle Works is spearheading this mural project, which is up on Appyway. The street with donuts, I'm not the same. But then in addition to that, stand from the Chamber of Commerce, they're going to be sponsoring a mural at the end where Appian and converges with Valley View and that big wall up there.
Where they're looking at.
And another thing we talk about in that regard is about getting some of the utility boxes. That currently there's some program about getting to paint them, to make them more attractive. And we're hoping that we might be able to find a way of having it done in a coordinated way so that we would be getting the permits and stuff, but also with interesting and thematic kind of imagery that we could use to do that. But those are three things I want to bring up.
And
thank you,
also,
Chris. I think we can move to the next agenda item, which is agenda items. So I think one of them is speakers for upcoming SMAC meetings. I'll reach out to Nicole.
sounds good.
And we can get a chamber of
Nicole.
commerce point of view about businesses.
Mhm.
Any other suggestions? No? Okay, well, they'll definitely,
Are we going to have an update about the Triangle Works?
Don't look at me, I'm not part of Triangle Works. He just said that.
Excuse me, I can just tell you that the next painting is August 18th and that, or whatever that weekend is.
Oh, yeah, 19th and 20th.
19th and 20th, Saturday and Sunday, where they'll continue where Valley View goes up Fran, because that was part of Richmond and they finally got the permits for that.
Retaining wall.
Yeah, check it out. It's very pretty. It's a nice.
It does look lovely.
okay, so I think what we can do now is move to public comment. Are there any public comments that people have?
I do, just a brief one for Tanya. It has to do with the stroll. Is the supervisor going to have a presence there and share it with the MAC? And you'll have a canopy this time? They didn't have- Yes, because
Yes.
that's why we no, because they couldn't locate one last year, therefore our booth was.
Miserable.
Yeah, well, partly was the weather. The weather was really funky last year, but the fact that there was issues with the booth is a problem.
If you guys don't have one, I can loan one.
Yeah, but that would be,
Just let me know.
So,
and
I've got a 10 by 10.
and I guess if we have a booth there, we probably need to figure out amongst ourselves who might staff the booth along with the councilman, with Supervisor Joy's office. I know that you and Sue will likely be doing your green team thing, so that leaves the rest of us.
But if you're right next to us, if we can get a placement near each other,
would
then
be
we could,
perfect.
so
then,
Work that out.
then we could
I
like.
haven't worked that out, but
go
there's
back and
somebody
forth.
in the Marie Caragnanis. So what I'll do is I'll send you an email
Yeah,
and you can work with Marie to see if you can.
yeah, if we can have spawners and.
Right, that would be
Painting
good.
and-
They
that.
tend to be flexible because the group that I was presenting with last year, when they gave us our booth, they put it between two food trucks, one of which had a very loud and stinky generator going. So we said, can you move us, please? And they said, well, sure, yes, and they moved us elsewhere.
So, yeah, so what I'll do is make sure, I'll send you Marie's email. I'll introduce the two of you by email.
I already know, but.
Oh, okay, so.
I think everybody knows.
Yeah.
All right, so public comment, any other?
I want to tell everybody to save the date for October 4th. Friends and I are giving a fundraiser for SOS. Yes, and it's gonna be at Uncle Chum's in Pinole. And it will be a silent auction and raffle and dinner. And right now I don't have those are the details I have. We're working a lot of it out. But the date is October 4th and it'll be from 6 to 9. So I just want to put that out there, that it's a very important fundraiser, because SOS does more for our community than we realize.
That's a Wednesday.
And they need our support. They really need financial help right now. This to sustain all the emergencies and funding that just comes up. There's so many more homeless people in.
What day is that?
Wednesday.
Wednesday. So I just really want to make sure that date stays in people's minds. But our next map meeting, it'll be really soon to that.
And you can remind us then too.
And I will.
Yes.
I'll flyer by them.
Cool.
Thank you so much. Are there any other public comments?
Well, I wanted to get some information about easements in our community. I know some people live in newer part of El Sobrante that actually has sidewalks. And some areas are so rural, it just, the dirt comes up to the roadway. And in my area, which is between the post office and the freeway on ramp of Appian, that community, we have narrow streets. And we have easements in front of our property, which is, like 2 or 3 foot area between my property line and the blacktop of the street. And I moved in 1956. And we're losing more and more and more of that easement because either wild growth or people plant their plants there. I had a neighbor who, it's been maybe 4 years now. He put a tree 11 inches from the blacktop, planted a tree, which I happen to water because I have my roses, and it's close to my property line, which is not on my property, it's his, but it's in the easement, it's not in his property line. And he long moved after he planted the tree, but now it's 4 years old, and already the garbage trucks are hitting it to get my garbage, and it's a little tree. I mean, what's it going to be in 20 years? 11 inches from the road. If I planted a tree 11 inches from the roadway on Dam Road, it wouldn't last a week or two because somebody would say that's not legal. And I'm worried that there's no place for the kids to walk because all those easements, if traffic comes, there's no place for them to step off and walk. And when you come home at night, there's no parking. If you have an extra 2 feet of parking, our streets are one way at night because cars, so many of the homes now don't have 2-car families. They have 6, 7-car families actually in my area. And so in all those cars that park there, barely you have a one-way street going through because so many of those easements are now full of plants and things. So if I'm the only one concerned, I'm wondering, where do I start? Not the building department, not
Code
that kind
enforcement. Code enforcement.
Right, and I don't think there's been any code enforcement.
Well, they don't just randomly come around and get a call.
Well, for safety features, I would think they would.
No,
They
they
have to call them.
get called.
Right, but when somebody sells a property, to me, a realtor is obligated to say, this is where your property line is. Oh, legally, I
Well, they,
to educate.
Probably, but we should have that amount of county staff. We haven't called code enforcement and give them the address and they'll come out and they'll deal with it.
Right, but I'm saying no, because when new people do move in, they're surprised when we talk about the easement, that my property doesn't go all the way up to the street.
Well, that's a bigger problem, but in the meantime, code enforcement is who you need to talk to.
Right. Well, that's.
I was also just gonna add that I think some of that conversation is gonna come up during the Clark Road. Kind of dispute on like who takes care of the sidewalk, like whose responsibility it is.
Well, Clark Road really is a problem.
Yeah, but maybe we can.
Her area is not, this is just unincorporated where she is. There isn't the problem of is it Richmond, is it who belongs to? That's a problem with Clark Road.
I think it's still part of it is like, is it a public right of way or is it just whose responsibility it is?
Right.
to kind of
But
take-
where she lives.
It's a county
It's the county, where she is.
So I think the answer is contact code enforcement, giving your address, and they'll come out to your property and at least evaluate your concern.
And particularly put in the safety aspect, because that will get them out faster.
Oh, they come fast.
So, are there any further, open comments?
When is Clark Road going to be addressed?
soon with it. They're working on coordinating the meeting, so.
Okay.
I'll add it to our report, next month.
So if there are no further open comments,
Can I say just one more thing about the estimate meetings? I forgot to say it. I'm actively looking for donations for the raffle and for the auction. So if anybody has anything they'd like to talk to me about, please take my phone number. So I just want to put that out there because I forgot to say that.
thank you, thank you. So if there are no further open agenda items, then declare the meeting adjourned. Thank you all so much.
Yeah. Give me your number to put on my notes.
Thank you for your.
Well, I've been on.